You're a fucking idiot. Hey,
what's up?
we're back.
Jersey girls.
Jersey,
Girl.
me and you.
Singular girl.
This is Ehsan.
What's up?
Ehsan, do you watch Jersey Girl?
Yes, I did watch Jersey Girl. And J-Lo fucking dies in this movie.
Bro,
J-Lo fucking dies.
like Nemo mama.
Yeah. Now, when anyone dies too early in a movie, they got J-Lo'd.
Yeah.
Nemo's mom, J-Lo'd.
J-Lo'd.
Up,
J-Lo'd.
Ned Stark,
J-Lo'd.
All of them.
Ned Stark got J-Lo.
Dude,
Ned Stark got his ass J-Lo, bro.
Oh, so hard.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Niggas be getting J-Lo real quick in these streets, man.
Man, no one's safe. No one's safe in the George R.R. Martin world.
Jeezy said it best.
Is that a thing?
Well, he
Jeezy
said it's not safe for black and white girls. But that's pretty much everybody.
That's a good point. No, it's not.
Yes, it is Jeezy. Keep making good points, Jeezy.
I mean, keep doing you, Jeezy, I guess. I got nothing against you. Really.
Really? He's from the Bay.
It's very... little girl kills it. Little girl's amazing.
Yes.
She is amazing.
What'd you think of the movie? I guess we should start.
I mean, I liked the movie. It was uplifting. It was a simple rom-com.
But it's not a rom-com.
Yeah.
It's like a rom-com that's not a rom-com.
It's a daddy-daughter film, really.
Yeah, it's really a daddy-daughter film.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
It's a daddy-daughter. Yeah, it's a good, if you have like a little daughter, it's probably a good one to see it with.
Yeah.
It made me laugh, especially the end.
Yeah.
When they were doing the Sweetie Todd.
That was funny.
That was really
That's
funny.
legit really funny.
I was out loud laughing. Critically it wasn't a good movie, and
No.
I saw exactly why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. I do wish this, because like the whole point of the movie is that you have to see him choose between this old life that he thought he was gonna have or this new life with this kid, right?
Yeah.
And that's his struggle. But like there is a middle ground, because he goes from like being the most ambitious dude ever to driving a garbage truck.
Street sweeper.
Street
but yeah.
sweeper. My bad. I'm sorry to the street sweepers out there for... In my head, you have a real big rivalry with the garbage men, and I just insulted you greatly. So I'm sorry to Street Sweeper Nation. But I do feel like, because he still could talk well.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh,
On
man.
the speech, he
had a speech. I've never seen a montage of a speech before.
What is that?
Yeah.
Kevin Smith. Yo, just write a good goddamn speech, dog.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Or just like write the words talking, like write him start talking and being drowned out by music, but not an actual montage.
Full on montage.
Of the same speech. It's not like he's different speeches across the nation. No, it's the same speech.
Yeah.
To the same people
It's
who
really
don't look overly convinced by it at the end of it too.
I think he more of just, they go like, okay.
Yeah, we won't be this weird murderous mob that we've become.
Over
a
street being stopped for 3 weeks or whatever.
3 days.
3 days.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could have been, at the end, he could also have been like a local politician or running for city council or something to show like he found a way to move his ambition to something new. Because ambition doesn't go away. Who you are doesn't change fundamentally. I think
he just put it all into being a dad. Like all
of it into being a dad.
Yeah, which is a lot. You can't do that.
lot.
You can go to everything. You can go to every event. You can be that dad, bro.
That's true. Also, what the fuck kind of school holds that event at the end?
What do you mean?
Okay, first of all, it's terrifying enough to go up in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Especially as a kid. But then to make the kids sing, and then to make them, like, clearly they have to, like, wear costumes for this.
They have to do a full-on musical
number. Yo, there's so many people dressed as cats.
Yo, why did everyone do Memory from Cats?
Everyone did Memory from Cats. It's a great callback.
Everyone did Memory from Cats. That's so funny.
Yeah, everyone did, but it's like...
Yeah, the cats thing throughout the whole movie is funny.
Yeah, what kind of weird fucking school is that?
What'd you think of George Carlin?
Killed it.
Right? Homeboy can act.
George Carlin was great.
That last scene you see it, and the one scene where Ben Affleck's talking to his daughter, you can see like where Gone Girl and The Town and Argo. I saw his future in like some of those scenes. You're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah,
it's there.
It's a young good actor. That's what it was.
Because when you see him in movies now, when he does critically, like when he does his movies, you're like, oh, this motherfucker can act. But it wasn't all the way in Jersey Girl, just a couple scenes.
You know what? But you know what it is like back in Jersey Girl, like during those times, like, oh, I see why you guys shit on this dude.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that too. It's like, oh, that's why he was so shit on.
Yeah.
Oh, duh.
I mean, you seen it in Armageddon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's those little moments in Armageddon where you're like, is that a good actor? You're almost like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's a good actor.
Liv Tyler has one mode, and that's like almost whispering.
Yeah, that's how she acts.
Every scene, she's almost whispering, and she's so concerned.
You ever see The Lord of the Rings? 3 movies of her like, Aragorn. Are my hands too big? I don't know why I keep shitting on your hands, Liv. You got good hands.
Maybe. Yeah, but
Will Smith? What'd you think of that?
I mean, he killed it as Will Smith.
He kills it as himself.
Yeah, that was also very funny. That was a good
I
scene.
love that scene. I love that scene.
It's what was funny was watching Will Smith in that like one scene and be like, oh my God, he's just like a way better actor than everyone else in it. Yeah, he's like a way better actor. And it just shines in with just one scene. It's crazy how you can just tell. Girl kills it though.
I wonder how Ben Affleck got better. How do you get...
You keep
Because he's so much better now than he was.
Getting put in movies, and then you either figure that shit out, or you become Nick Cage, and you still keep getting put in movies, but people just shit on you constantly.
So Ben Affleck, you're suggesting that one day he was like, I don't like that people keep saying mean things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change this.
Well, I don't think. Well, for him to become a real good actor, the change came from within. It wasn't like
definitely
other people are saying no. He was like, I can do this, and fuck these people. Or he could have been Nick Cage and kept doing what he was doing and still get a bunch of roles and still be beloved. I'm cool. I'm not cool. I like Nick Cage enough, you know? So,
but he ain't in that, like, because Ben Affleck, he got into that top actor realm of like, oh, you're a respected, homeboy can act. And he can direct. He's directed good movies too. But I saw it in Jersey Girl, Ben. I saw it.
I mean, it's easier to see it with retrospect. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is easier.
There's those moments where you're like, oh, there it is.
The fight. The fight between him and his daughter at the end, where he goes, "I wish you were never born." You little shit. That was amazing.
Great.
That was a great fight.
You buy it. It's
I watched that scene over again. I was like, this was a great scene,
dude. Kevin, and also Kevin Smith. I feel like you got it too. I feel like you're right there. No, bro, you know what I'm saying? But it's like moments of like, oh, this is really good.
It was good family
And then there's
drama.
these other moments where you're like, okay, I guess you're just making a movie and you got it. All right, it is what it is.
You gotta do some stuff. You gotta grab Bye Guys 9 or whatever. Or whatever the fuck he grabbed. Bye Guys.
Bye. That was funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Bye, guys.
But yeah. The goons, not the goons, her uncles.
I love those two.
Yeah, one of them was genuinely very funny.
Oh yeah.
He was incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
Incredibly stupid.
Really. Did anything I miss? Did I miss anything?
Not that popped out to me at the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah. Nothing that was like, ooh, he missed this. I gotta write this down.
Yeah, usually you catch something. Usually there's something that's like a retarded thing. And I'm like, wow, I don't know how I didn't see.
No,
retarded thing.
You know what? This movie was really straightforward. That's why. That's why critics didn't like it. And
yeah, it's coming. It's like he's like, yo, this is what this is.
Besides the fact that someone got J-Lo'd in the beginning, the epicenter of the J-Lo, the eye of the storm, happened in the beginning. After that, it was really, really almost cookie cutter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the only twist. I mean, no, you just you're watching that movie. You're not like, oh, she's about to die.
That was the only thing out of left field.
Yeah, we're like, what the fuck?
I did think it was funny when he's arguing with his dad.
About what?
Because the dad goes to work for the first time after having the
George
baby.
Carlin?
Yeah. And then like with the baby in the car, he like tries to stop his dad's street sweeper, and he just like walks.
Yeah, leaves the baby in the car.
Leaves the baby. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. How you have no clue what a father is like? What a father is. Like, zero idea.
Also, they kind of hint that George Carlin was a bad dad, but he doesn't look like he was too bad of a dad.
I don't think George Carlin was a bad dad. Was he supposed to be a bad dad?
They hint that he had a drinking problem. But they don't ever say he hit him or was not there or...
They say he's an alcoholic, but he could be an alcoholic now.
Yeah, exactly.
Post kid leaving.
Post college years.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Ben had a lot of shit going on in the beginning. Also, I just couldn't understand why he would even want to go back to the ad agency.
After the whole Will Smith?
Yeah.
Fresh Prince fiasco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. R.I.P. J-Lo.
R.I.P. J-Lo.
R.I.P.
And we back. Baba.
Hey, it's me.
What's up, bro?
I'm excited.
You excited?
Yeah, tell me. Lay it on me.
I'm excited too. Stop looking.
Today?
Stop trying to cheat.
Well, it's right there. And I always cheated on my papers in school like that. So,
That is why you would. I would cheat too because it was right there.
Yeah, well, who didn't?
It's right there. Even if I knew the answer, it's like, well, it's right there.
Yeah, who didn't? Get your life together, people.
Ehsan Ahmad,
What?
Baba.
Yes.
What happens in the movie? 21.
Oh, shit. The card playing thing? Yes, the card playing thing. I know. You know what? I do know what 21's about. It's about people who count cards and then play blackjack.
What happened?
I was about to say poker.
Explain the movie to me, please.
All right. So a bunch of should-be Asian people are at MIT, and they're probably studying like game theory or some crazy shit like that. Or statistics, not game theory, statistics, right? They're studying statistics, and they're like, oh, man.
Like, a lot of your movies go the same. They always start with somebody going,
oh, wait, oh, buddy.
Interesting writing.
Yeah, main guy was like, oh, hold up.
Uh-huh.
These applied to cards, but let's see if we can take it to Vegas. And some of them, he gets a whole team together, right? And the team split into two schools of thought. Some of them are like, we're doing this purely from an academic perspective. And then the other ones are like, we're trying to make some money.
Ooh.
We're going to make money.
What happens? So what happens in Vegas?
What happens in Vegas? Okay. Well, the main character, whoever this guy is he's on the side of like, we're doing this for school.
Uh-huh.
This is a school thing.
This is for school.
This
So a school project.
Yeah. This is.
I like this guy.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he sounds like it.
He's a good guy, but he's creatively mischievous.
Oh.
So, you know how it is.
Been there.
Yeah. And, they go to Vegas, and then over time, he gets tempted to be like, fuck, this isn't for class anymore. And then the other guys are like, but main character. But main character, you were so pure of heart. What happened? He was like, fuck it, I want money. And he gets to the situation.
So they're like, but main character.
But main character. That's what they say.
But main character, please listen.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his hubris. He already has like the attention of like the, of the casino, because they're like, what the fuck are these nerds doing? How are they winning so much?
Yeah.
Nerds don't just win. So they're like already suspicious of them.
So security's on them.
Yes, the casino's onto him. And then
How's that conclude?
well, his hubris gets in the way, and they, he's trying to win money, and the casino catches on, so they switch up the system a little bit to fuck with him to see if he is actually counting money, and then he's just missing by a little bit, and then he gets angry, and they're like, we got him, and then, they take it's one of those Ocean's situations where they try to take him to a back room to rough him up a bit, and he escapes, and then him and his comrades.
So they're Russian now.
Him and his friends. No,
Okay.
like general comrades, not comrades. General comrades. Yeah.
I like the idea of them being Asian and Russian.
Yeah, they're Russian Asians. There's Russian Asians. They're
I like the idea of them being Asian.
Okay, well, they're supposed to be. I know they're white, but he's supposed to be Asians are running around, and they get away. A couple of them stay back because they didn't really get caught, and then they keep playing cards. And then he has his, and then he publishes a paper, and casinos have to change the way they deal blackjack.
Ooh, he publishes a paper for it, huh?
Oh, of course.
Interesting.
Of course. He is an academic.
Okay.
And that is 21.
Blackjack.
Yeah. You see
I
how hit
got
that?
it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
21.
It's for you
That
guys.
was it. That was just as beautiful. Even when you know it better than you. Even when you know it. You know what? We're just gonna do the movie.
Okay. Okay, what
but that
happens
was beautiful.
In 21. I mean, if that's not a movie, that should be a movie.
Movie starts. Voiceover. God, so many movies start with a voiceover.
It's the easiest way to
I've realized.
give context.
I start every week. We start with somebody's talking. Hey, let the credits roll for once, nigga. God damn, let the credits roll and start with some scenery. All right.
So
Voiceover. Black. You hear a white guy. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner.
nice. Classic white guy saying.
Of course.
Oh, man.
It's Ben Campbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're showing a white dude, and he's in disguise, and he's playing blackjack at a table in slow-mo. Slow-mo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he explains while he's playing blackjack in slow-mo, the voiceover is him explaining the background of the saying, the chicken dinner. The winner, chicken dinner. It's like some guy won blackjack way back in Asian times, and he is like, winner. He said, I don't know how this Asian guy said it, but he said it first. That was the saying. That was the
back in Asian times.
Back in Asian times, and they invented blackjack, and an Asian dude spoke English. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
You get history.
So he's talking, and he says how, what I'm doing, he's talking about how he's counting cards. He's like, but what I'm doing wasn't illegal. He was like, it was just frowned upon. And he was like, I was counting cards and I was up 640,000. He's playing in slow-mo and it's like, he's, laughing and you know what I mean? Like carrying on and like, it's all, but it's like, you can tell he's having a good time, right?
Right.
And he's talking about like, he's like, we had a team and we would do it like this. He said, where we would use signals and certain, like a signal, like if you stretch arms behind your back, it meant come over. Or if you rub your eye, let's talk. Or if you, certain things. He's like, he's like, and then one signal, and then it shows a girl doing like this with her hair. Mm-hmm. He's like, it meant get out now. And then it shows them security's like chasing them in slow-mo, like starts chasing towards them. And then he's like, and then like you see all their disguises, like them and the team. And then it goes, winner, chicken dinner. And it fades to black. And then this gay-ass song starts playing that.
I know the exact song. I know the exact song you're talking about.
I'm not that shit.
Okay.
I hate that fucking song. And it's 21 across the screen, right? Yeah. And it shows our main character, big, beautiful shot of Boston. And he's riding a bicycle into Boston, right?
Right.
And he's riding all through the city, and the credits are rolling, and that song's playing. And he rides all the way into Harvard, okay?
Okay.
So he gets up to Harvard, and he's talking to a person at Harvard Med, like a guy. If you wanted to get into the school, what's that word?
Admissions officer?
Admissions, there we go.
There you go.
Talking to an admission person, and the admission person is saying his credits to him, which are amazing. You graduated this in your class, this kind of honors, you have all these, like this kind of awards, and you've done this, that, and your resume is amazing.
You're a Harvard man.
You're a Harvard man, blah, blah, blah. And he tells him how he knows that he's trying to get this scholarship, which will get him into Harvard Med for free.
Right.
And it's a very big scholarship. They only give it to one person. It's extremely insane to get it, right? Mm-hmm. And then the main character goes, Professor Phillips, some kids want to play in the MLB. Some kids want to be firefighters. All I've ever wanted to do was go to Harvard Med School. He's like, that's all I've ever wanted to do,
Man.
He was like, but I don't come from money. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of people that go to Harvard, I have to earn every penny to go to MIT. And he was like, I can't even get into Harvard. So he's like, I need this scholarship.
Right.
There's no other way I can get in.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the guy is like, well, the scholarship really goes to someone who dazzles us. And he's like, your resume is great, but there's nothing really that jumps off the page. You haven't really done anything to dazzle us. He's like, the last year winner was a Korean immigrant with one leg. And then the guy's like, I'm sorry, I have two legs.
And
he was like, well, do you ever just consider cutting one off? And the white guy's like, and he was like, that's a joke. And he was like, oh, okay. And he was like, well,
but also not really.
Not really. And he's like, and he tells him, he's like, listen, man, you need life experience. He's like, you gotta give me some life experience. You gotta say something to dazzle me. Say something, that's really gonna jump off this page. And then the guy's like, me and my friends were building like a robot for this 2.09 competition. And he's like, maybe, maybe, right? So they cut to the next scene, and it leaves him. He's riding a bike. He's heading into work. He works at like a clothing store.
Okay.
Like an H&M, like a basic clothes, like an Abercrombie Fitch kind of shit. Mm-hmm. And he gets in there. He's late, and his boss is like, you're late, Ben. He's like, oh no, I'm sorry, boss. And he's like, the new assistant manager can't be late. Get in here, buddy. You just got promoted. And he's like, what? He's like a really nerdy guy. The main character's a really nerdy motherfucking dude, by the way.
Okay, and he's not impressed by being an assistant manager at a clothing store.
He's not happy with this.
No.
This is what...
Yeah, it's a corporate ladder he doesn't want to go up.
Definitely not. And the guy's like, you just got bumped up to $8 an hour. And he's like, oh, great, thanks.
Yeah. Woo.
And then his friend looks at him. He's like, what are you doing, sleeping with him? Because the boss is a guy. And his best friend is Josh Gad.
Oh. Oh, hey.
So
hey,
Josh. In this.
Josh Gad. that's how, how I get on. Josh!
So he's talking to Josh Gad upstairs,
Yeah.
right? And he's telling him how he's panicking over this essay, how he's not going to get the scholarship, and how because he gave up his whole life to study. He's like, I fucking ruined my whole life just studying. I didn't experience anything. He's like, He's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't party. I didn't do anything. All I did was just study every day and made sure I got great grades to get into Harvard Med. And he's like, now that's keeping me from getting to Harvard Med. And he's like, oh my God, this is, he's bullshitting. And the Josh Gad character trying to like, oh, it's all good, it'll all work out. He's like, I just hate that the reason I can't get into my dream is for money. Like, I just don't think that that's fair. Right?
Fair point.
So the next scene, they're all at a bar. It's Josh Gad, him, his friend, and they're celebrating his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He just turned 21.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. Layered. There's a lot of 21s in this movie.
Mm-hmm. So Josh said, the Josh Gad dude's like, hey, I finished the specs thing on this remote car that we're building, right, for the competition. And so they're all talking about that. And then they're looking around, and everybody else in the bar is like having a good time. And then they're all like, fuck, man, we don't date, we don't party. All we do is like study and worry about this competition, right? And then everybody else is like looking around, just having a great time. And they're like, man, they just kind of all put their heads down and go, man, we suck. It's a pretty sad scene.
Yeah. The life of a nerd, right? You gotta make that.
Yeah, it's just
You
they
gotta
just
learn
let it
that
be
the
known.
hard way.
Yeah, they let it be
man,
known.
I do suck.
Yeah. Oh man, these guys are sad. And so he's leaving the party and he's walking home with his mom. And his mom's like, hey, you're 21, so don't come home. Then like, I better not like go out and have fun for once. And he's like, oh, I don't know, really just gotta go home and work on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, no, you need to go out and like don't come home till 3 a.m. Like experience your life. You're 21, go out and have some fun.
Be a 21-year-old.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. So the next scene, he's in class and we meet our other main character, Kevin Spacey.
No, I forgot he's in this.
He's in this.
Good old Spacey.
He's a teacher at MIT.
Yes, just around younger people.
Always, baby.
Yeah,
Killing it, by the way. Can act.
I mean, what? Kevin Spacey? We know can act.
So he's like this cool teacher. He's like quoting Ferris Bueller. He's like, anybody, Bueller. Like everybody's laughing.
Right.
He's like saying all this cool stuff. And him and Ben started debating like Newton's theories, like because he said something about Newton's theories, and then the Ben dude raised his hand and kind of like proves that that's not a thing. And then Kevin Spacey's like, oh, we're talking about Isaac Newton. You think you can prove Isaac Newton wrong? And then of course he does prove him wrong because the Ben dude's a fucking genius,
right?
You know what I mean?
And Isaac Newton's a fucking pussy.
So Kevin Spacey then has him do like a fake game show to test like. He does it to test like his just like statistic algorithm skills or whatever. That's what he says. But you can tell he's like, oh, he's testing his betting skills.
Right.
You know that you learned that later. So he's like, all right, let's say we're on a game show then, Ben, and you got 3 doors, and the judge is like, all right, Ben, behind, you want to get a brand new car, but behind one of these doors, and he's like, okay, we'll eliminate. He said he eliminates 1 door, and he's like, all right, you eliminate this door. So he's like, now, and then he like Kevin Spacey like does this thing of like how, like you're probably gonna choose, like what would you statistically think is the right choice? And he kind of leans like this would be the one, and then he says no, it's that one. And he's like, why would you say it's that one? And then he just like breaks it down like easy. Well, it's like, oh well, it's a 33-point-something% chance, and then you said this, and when you said that, and then like, oh really, it's a 60-something% chance because why would you? You know what I mean?
Okay, so I think I've heard this before. So it's you have a car between 3 doors.
Yeah.
Behind 3 doors, 2 doors is nothing. Cars behind 1 door, right? You eliminate 1, and they give you the option to switch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're always supposed to switch.
Yeah.
Because chances are you chose the wrong door at the beginning.
Yeah.
So you take one of the wrong doors out, then it's more than a 50% chance the other door is right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's not what they said, but they said a thing like that.
Okay.
But that's not what they said.
Right.
But when you watch it, it'll be like, oh, it did sound like what I said.
Okay.
It just wasn't. It was just a different version. Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, and then he's kind of like looking at him like, oh, okay. And then he's like, so what would you choose? And he chooses the right one. And he's like, that is absolutely correct. And he's like, class, you guys see how Ben did that? And he's like, he left emotion at the door. Because that's what people do in betting game shows like that. He was like, he didn't use emotion. He used just statistical analysis. And he, boom, nailed it. Right? And he's kind of looking at him like, okay, this kid, So the next scene, Josh Gad and Ben, like they're out playing basketball.
Josh Gad.
And yeah, I just keep saying Josh Gad.
Yeah.
And they're playing basketball like this MIT basketball court.
Yeah.
And then a beautiful girl walks in slow-mo, right?
Ooh.
It's a really beautiful girl. And she's like doing, curling her hair. And then she walks in.
Same girl from the beginning?
And he notices her, like, and he's looking at her. And then she looks over at him. And then they all kind of stop and they're looking. And then she like waves. And then he waves. And then she like smiles, and then he kind of turns, and it's another guy like that she's really waving at. And then Josh Gad's like, Josh Gad. oh, that hurts. He's like, oh, that just sucks, man. I'm sorry. Like you can tell he's just like, oh, that just wasn't cool.
Yeah, man. Been there.
We've all been there. Everyone in the world has been there.
Been there.
So they're like telling him like, hey, you should go ask her out. He's like, oh, I can't do that. I can't ask her out. And he's like, man, that'll give you some life experience. Just go do it. And he's like, no, chicken's out.
Right.
So Ben is now studying by himself in the library.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a guy walks up.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, boy genius. He's like, what? And he's like, you have to follow me now. And then he's like,
just some random guy.
Yeah, some random guy. He's like,
okay.
What do you mean? He's like, come on, let's go. He's like, I'm studying. He's like, let's go now. Come on, boy genius. And then he starts walking, and the guy's like, oh, okay. So Ben starts following him. He's like, hey, where are we going? He's like, shut up. He's like, seriously, I have to. He's like, shut up. He just keeps saying, like, just don't talk.
Is this a college kid or
another college kid?
Oh, another college kid. Okay.
So they're walking down the hallway, and he follows them, and he takes them into a room, right? And he opens the door, and then in the room, it's like two Asian kids, that pretty girl, and like him, and then Kevin Spacey. Okay. And they're all at a blackjack table.
Okay.
Right? And then they're all got numbers on the board, woo-de-woo. And then, they're all sitting there and like, he's like, Professor Rosa, what is this? He's like, call me Mickey, please. And he's like, what's happening? And he's like, you ever play blackjack? And then he's like, no. He's like, well, it's a simple game. And he just simply explains blackjack to him. And he's kind of just still standing there like, what the fuck? And Kevin Spacey's like, it's really just a game of memory. And then he's like, the best part of the game is it's beatable. And then he's like, oh, you mean like counting cards? He's like, no, I'm talking about getting rich. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he was like, well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. But first you got to know a spot just opened up on our team. A spot just opened up on our roster. One of our guys, Jim, just got hired by Google. And then he was like, we want to know if you want to fill that spot. And he was like, if you guys are getting so rich, why did he leave? And he said, I said he got hired by Google, not Sizzler. And he was like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so they start and he's still nervous, and they start more coercing him. Like, come on, you can get this, we can get, this amount of money. All you got, it's really easy. You're just counting cards. You're already smart. And he tells them listen, we have it's a foolproof system. We have a team. We go to Vegas. We have signals. We clean house. We come back. Nobody knows we're even there. And he tells them how, I saw you in the class. You thought logically, put emotion to the side. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people can't do that. You have something special that's a gift. You should use it. And he's kind of like, oh no, I can't. Something about this doesn't feel right. And he's like, I'm not the right guy. And then Spacey's like, okay. And he kind of pushes him to the door. And he's like, well, this conversation has to remain private, right? And he was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't say anything. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm glad you wouldn't. And he threatens him because if you ever did, I could tear you down in a second, right? And you're cold, like Kevin Spacey's cold.
Good. Kevin Spacey's a good villain.
He's real good at being, because you also don't know he's a villain until this moment. It has not occurred to you at all because he's been
Kevin
so nice.
Yeah.
And then you just see it I'll fucking kill you. This is I just let you know something that you're not supposed to know. Don't fuck it up.
I like this.
Yeah, it gets intense real quick.
It's high stakes.
High stakes.
It's a high stakes gambling movie.
So back at work, he goes back to the J Crew, wherever he works, and he's selling clothes, and he's he's talking to an older couple, and they're asking him is this 5% off? Because we already have a coupon for 20% off. And then he just clearly wasting his talents. He explains all the math of what the price would be because it's 20% off and 5%. He's like, I'll give you another 5% off in this price. He's like, that actually knocks it down to this price. He's like, or you can use this deal, which will knock it down to this price. And then clearly he's a clear genius.
Right.
And he's not even trying. He's just saying this without even looking at them. And they're just kind of what the fuck is
this? Is way more. We wanted small talk.
Yeah. Why is this guy talking about this? And then while he's doing this, he looks over and then the pretty girl walks in.
Okay.
The girl that was at the table, she walks in, and he, of course, gets up and he goes over to her, and then she's like, oh, I'm here looking for a tie or something. And then he's like, oh, okay. And he starts talking to her, and he's just like an idiot. And he's like, oh, this tie is made of neon and blah, blah, blah. And she's kind of laughing and flirting with him a little bit. And then she puts the tie around his neck, and then she tells him how, she grew up playing the game. She was like, my dad, used to count cards, play blackjack with me. And, every time I won, he'd take me out for ice cream. And he was like, what about when you lost? And she was like, he still would take me out for ice cream. And he goes, oh yeah, that's right, it was your dad.
Yeah.
That's actually the only funny line. I don't think the guy's a good actor at all, the main character. Really? He's a bad actor.
Really? Would I recognize him for anything?
No, that's why he's a bad actor. They shouldn't have put him in anything else. I don't know why they gave him this.
Well,
When you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that nigga was terrible.
Did he just look nerdy enough?
Yep.
Was it?
They were that's exactly what we want him to look like.
Oh, that's perfect.
But he can't act. You're Sid Vec, my nigga. Paul Blart reference.
I know who Sid Vec is.
For everybody else.
Yeah. All right. All right.
So, she's like, she's telling him like,
Would I recognize the girl?
her name's Kate Bosworth.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, she's a person.
Yeah.
You'd recognize her.
All right.
You recognize the Asian dude is the Asian dude in this. You recognize, and then the other dude, the cool guy who went and got him. You'd recognize him too.
Okay, so these are all fairly.
Everybody's recognizable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right.
And she tells him how like the thrill of winning is unimaginable, and he should come to Vegas with us. And he's like, no. And she's like, well, if you change your mind, you know where we meet at. Come meet us.
What is he like morally against it? What does he get to lose?
He's just scared. Because he still keeps asking, like, is it illegal? He's like, is it illegal? And they're like, no. He keeps bringing that up. And she's like, they're like, no, it's not illegal. It's just frowned upon.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is kind of like, something doesn't seem right about saying that.
Right? That's very shady. That's on the edge of legality. But also, do some illegal shit.
Right?
Yeah, live your life.
And then right as she's about to leave, he's like, I can't do it. She's like, well, you know the best thing about Vegas. And he's like, what? And she was like, is you can become anyone you want.
Oh, thank God she didn't say what happens in Vegas stays Vegas.
No.
Oh, thank God. I was going to be really mad. I was going to get really angry.
As you this would been all the right to.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like, ah. So it cuts back to them and they're at their cool meeting room again. And Kevin Spacey's just throwing cards on the table.
Yeah.
Just throwing them on the table like real fast. Like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, come on, what's count? He's telling them what's count. And they're all, and then they're like, all right, go. Stop. He stops. What's count? And they're all say a different number. And he's like, wrong. And he's like, guys, how did you not keep a simple count? You got to know the ups. Woo. And then like while they're kind of debating over that, he's in the corner, the banker, and he says the right number. And they're like, oh, Ben, glad you can join us. As they always like every line in every movie ever.
Right. Wait, so they don't know Ben's in the corner?
Well, like he's the door's open. Like and he's by the door kind of watching.
Okay.
And he says the correct
and that's
number.
but they don't know he's there.
Huh?
Do they not know he's there?
They didn't know he was there.
What a fucking dumb secret meeting. Yeah. If someone can just walk in your front door.
So, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
so he agrees to, like, he's like, obviously, he's going to do it. So some cool,
when they inevitably get caught, they deserve it.
So cool-ass, like, Ocean's 11 music starts playing.
Okay.
And, like, a training thing starts out. And they start doing it with, like, they're throwing all the cards down with him. Like, but two people are throwing them down, and he's keeping count on both at the same time.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
So
like,
he's the head of this.
He's like already head of this thing. He's just fucking, but he's got to learn, like, and he's explaining, like, all these things that he's got to learn. Like, it's a montage kind of, you know? And he's saying, like, he's doing a voiceover about like every card has a value.
It's a voiceover montage.
Yeah, and he's like every card has a number and every like card has a name, and then like it's flashing all the names like 16 equals sweet and like magazine is 17, like all these things.
Okay.
Like all these different things. And he's like, oh my God, it changed my whole life. I started studying every day, but not like chemistry or high math. He's like just literally basic math. It's like it's just going over basic math in a way I've never thought it could be used,
Right, to get money.
Yeah. So
like so each number gets its own like naming system.
Yeah.
Right. So what are what do the hand signals mean?
About to get there.
Okay, they don't even go to the hand signals.
They do.
Oh, it's or not yet. It's a comprehensive montage.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's like a textbook.
They basically say how it's a perfect system and they never get caught. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because they count cards. They do it in a way that's
which is
very trained.
You keep saying that.
Yeah.
You keep tempting fate. It's like saying this is the ship that'll never sink. It's like even if it is, why challenge God like that? Because God, very vengeful person. Generally.
I don't know.
Right? Just be like, this is a good system, and then keep quiet about it.
You would think that.
Right.
I mean, they also, every movie, I've noticed people challenge God. I mean,
yeah, don't tempt fate. If there's any lesson to be learned from this podcast, which there shouldn't be, but if there's any lesson learned, is don't tempt fate.
So him and Spacey are walking through snow, right? And he's telling him how, like, hey, man, Kevin Spacey's like, hey, I'm only doing this to get in Boston Medical School, Harvard Medical School, and then I'm done. I don't want any more.
Right.
And then Kevin Spacey's like, hey, man, me too. I'm only doing this until my invention takes off. And he's like, okay. He's like, all right, cool. And then he's like, again, I got to ask, like, is it safe? And then the Kevin Spacey goes, oh, yeah, it's not illegal. And then he kind of walks off. He's kind of like, all right, So the next scene, they cut to in Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay. Where did he come from?
It's him. He's in a suit, and he's beating the shit out of somebody.
Ooh, he is
beating
furious.
the fuck out of someone. Like, just, poof, poof. And he's like, you think you can beat the system? Boom, boom. Hits him again. He's like, you want to count cards? Do it in Atlantic City. Boom. But just fucking hate, just fucking this dude, like just fucking him up. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And he hits him one more time, and he's like, all right. And he raises him up, and he's holding his head. He's like, all right, count to 5. And the guy's like, what? He's like, count to 5 so I know you don't have brain damage, and I'll let you go home. And the guy's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's like, all right, don't count cards. And he's like, the guy's like, he's all bloody, and then it cuts back to like, it cuts back. Just like a little quick thing to let you know, like, hey, this is what, little heads up.
Yeah.
Where this movie's headed.
Jesus Christ. Also, I always felt like if you're a casino, you got to figure out ways to counteract that. It's not the guy who's counting cards' fault that you suck at concealing your cards.
It's not.
It's not.
But when you cheat, it is a weird, they do have to punish in like some weird Vegas way.
Yeah. I mean, in a very illegal Vegas way. But what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
So they're back at a restaurant, right? And they're explaining to them how they do it. It's like, all right, they're explaining to Ben how they do it. They're at this little diner, and they're like, all right, so we use spotters. So 2 people will go in, and they'll count the cards. They sit at a thing, and they count, and they don't bet high or low. They just bet the minimum, and they don't win. They don't try to lose. They just stay right in the middle, and their job is to count other tables and wait until a table gets hot. When their table gets hot, or they see another table gets hot, they signal over.
Which is the arms behind the back.
Arms behind the back.
Okay. And they're signaling to like come to my table. That's what that means.
Yeah.
All right.
And then they go wrong because they're like, all right, so like if we touch our any eye touch means like we need to talk. Forehead means the table's cold. Get out of there. And then hand through the hair means get out now. Like run. Security.
Yeah.
Like, right. It's over. Right. And so they're like, all right, you ready for a trial run? He's like, I think I'm ready. So it's him walking through like a back alley, right? Like a dark back alley. And then he comes up to a door and there's a Chinese guy who's in that crouching, like when an Asian guy's smoking a cigarette. And he's crouching.
In that crouching position.
Always. So right by the door in this back alley.
Yeah.
And he's like, is
Vietnamese gambling parlor.
He's like, is this the right place? And he doesn't acknowledge him. And then a guy comes out and he's like, you been? And he's like, yeah. He's like, follow. Like, okay. And he takes him through it's like this Asian restaurant and like through the back of it. And then it just opens the door and then it's like this huge gambling den.
Backdoor gambling.
Backdoor Asian, like real nice too. Real cool.
Yeah. With a lot of, everyone's dressed really nicely.
Oh yeah. So they go in and his team's already there, right? And he notices one of his Asian teammates, right? And he's like, this guy named like Troy Choi or some shit. You know what I mean? He was like the wild guy. He was like the wild guy.
He was like the cool guy too.
The cool guy / wild. No, he's not the cool guy. He's a different person. This is like the wild dude. Right?
Okay. So you don't know where he's at.
Yeah. So he does the thing and like signals Ben over.
Yeah.
And Ben comes over, right? And he says the word like the guy says the word magazine. The Asian dude says the word magazine. And then like when he says the word magazine, like the 17 flashes across the screen.
Okay.
Magazine equals 17. Like, you know what I mean? Like in his head. And then he's like, oh, okay. So he knows that. And then he bets and he wins. And then the Asian dude is like, the guy playing the cards is like, winner, chicken dinner. And then he's like, winner, chicken dinner. Like to himself. He's such a bad actor, bro.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is also like a terrible callback. It's not like it's a cool thing to hear.
Yeah. No, not at all.
So winner, chicken dinner. You don't associate that with like putting on sunglasses afterwards, and riding off on a motorcycle.
So he smiles and he starts winning.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's loving it. You can tell, like, oh wow, he's loving it.
He's eating chicken.
He's eating chicken. He's ordering drinks, and he's killing it. And then out of nowhere, someone puts a bag on his head, and like they drag him out. He's like, what's going on? Help me, what's going on? And then they set him down in the chair, and he's like, oh. And then somebody goes, what's in the count? Like a muffled voice goes, what's the count? And he's like, I don't know, what? Help me, please get me out of here. And he's like, what's the count? He's like, please help me. He's like, what's the count? He's like, 18. And it's quiet. And everybody kind of starts laughing. And they take the bag off his head. And he's like, oh, come on. And then, of course, it's the crew.
Team?
Yeah. And they're like, we had to make sure you can keep the count under pressure. And they're like, hey, don't worry, bro. We all started crying when we all did this. Like, it's okay. You did it fine. And they all clap. Like,
You're part of the team. He got jumped in. He got 21 in.
Oh, yeah. So, Spacey pulls him aside and tells him how he wants him to be the new ringer.
Well, that's
him
clear.
to be the new guy and replace the current one, which is a guy named Fisher, who's the cool dude who came and got him. In the
Okay.
He's like, I want you to replace him. He's like, I don't trust. He's like, the reason I need you to be the new ringer is because I don't trust the girls, and Troy is Troy, which is the crazy guy.
Yeah.
And the other 2 women are. I guess he just doesn't. He just says basically just doesn't trust women.
Yeah, he doesn't like.
He's also gay, but we find that out later, don't we, Kevin? So,
is this how we not work in Hollywood ever? Is this how it happens?
Probably.
Yeah. All right, so Kevin's gay. No.
So he's like, remember, Ben. He's like, we count cards.
Okay.
We don't gamble. He says, we count cards. We don't gamble. Always, always leave emotion at the door.
Oh.
And Ben's like, okay.
And that's going to be a cliffhanger climax of the movie.
Probably.
Can he check emotion at the door?
Let's see. So they go to the airport.
Can he act his way out of this situation?
And at the airport, the cool one tells, he's like, all right, follow me.
Mhm.
He's like, new guy, come on. And he's like, where are we going? He's like, follow me to the bathroom. He's like, why do I have to follow you to the bathroom? He's like, I don't have to go to the bathroom. He's like, just shut up. Can you shut up? And he's like, all right, follow me in the stall. He's like, I don't want to go in the stall with you. He's like, get in the stall. It's like, so he takes him in the stall. He's like, all right, take your pants off. He's like, what are you doing? Take your pants. And he's like, here, put this in your pants and just shut the hell up. And it's like $250,000 cash.
Jesus.
And he's like, why do I have to do this? He's like, you're the new guy. You have to do it. And
That makes sense.
He's like, oh my God. So he's freaking out. And you can see he starts sweating and shows him back on the line now, like in the thing. And then he's like, he's the little Asian crazy guy. He's like, what's it like to be the donkey boy? He's like, what? And he's like, eeyaw, eeyaw. He starts doing that like in the line. So he's sweating.
Yeah.
He's sweating. And then the one guy looks at him. He goes, act casual, think casual. You know what I mean? He was like, act casual, think casual, and you'll be casual. And then like slow-mo, he starts walking in slow-mo and fucking techno music starts playing. Like, didn't it? Like really intense.
You know, casual music.
Like, so he's walking slow-mo and he's sweating and shit.
That's what I want when I want to when I want a casual night at home. Plug in my laptop to the speakers, and it's just and I just relax, read a book.
Yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
So that's playing. It's intense as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He's sweating, and then he goes through, and it's fine. And like as he keeps walking in slow-mo, the lady's like, sir? And then he turns around, and of course he's like, oh, it's over. And she's like, you forgot your bag. And he's like, oh. And then, you know that scene. You've seen that scene in every movie ever.
Yeah. Where you think he gets caught, and then
They never get caught.
They never get caught.
Why do they keep putting that in the scene?
Oh, God. Yeah, we know the movie's not going to end here. Just to get him through the airport security.
So they get into their Vegas, and they shows them like a montage of them like flying in. He's like practicing, and like he's they're playing like cool Ocean's 11 music as he's like riding through Vegas with like his head out the window and shit. You know?
Yeah.
They take him. Kevin Spacey takes him to like this baller ass room, and they get there. And he's already in the room, right? So they get to this huge baller ass room at the Hard Rock Hotel. They go upstairs, and Kevin's like, hey, I got your disguises. I got this, I got that. And then he's like, why do I need disguises? And he's like, I thought it was illegal. He's like, we just do that so we can go from casino to casino without like causing a mischief. And the guy's like, okay. Ben still hasn't really got the comprehended that this is not okay.
Yeah. Well, it's also clearly not okay. But he's such a nerd.
Yeah. So the Asian dude immediately starts stealing like everything from the hotel, like towels and snacks and like all that shit.
Yeah.
And Spacey tells them all to order a drink and act like they're drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, always order a drink, act like you're drunk. So just to alleviate that suspicion, you know what I mean? That you're in there doing something. You know? And he's like, you guys know, he's like, remember you guys, 2 rules. You don't know each other and don't get caught counting. All right. So they go down.
Yeah.
Right. And they're on the floor. And Ben walks through, and everyone's doing their job. They're all playing their characters at different tables.
Yeah.
He sits. The Asian girl does the thing, stretch to call him over.
Yeah.
And then right when she comes over, she takes a sip from her drink. She goes, "Ooh, too sweet." And then sweet pops across his head. It's like sweet plus 16. You know what I mean? Like real quick, like right across the screen.
Ooh,
yeah,
they're good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
And then everything goes silent. Like, but all you hear is his head.
And it's like calculating.
Yeah, he's just like he's counting. He's like 6 plus 3, 6, all right, 6 plus 2, 8, all right, 8 cards left. You know what I mean? Like he's just, there's a jack, all right, jack, so queen, 6. Like he's just doing all that shit in his head, and he's like, all right, bet, stay. And he's just doing that for a while, and then he just starts killing. And it's actually like the coolest shot in the movie because it's just showing all the numbers in his head.
Okay,
like what
like
each
Beautiful
card's
Mind
gonna
style.
be. Yeah. And it's just fucking really cool. Really?
Yeah.
We'll do that one too.
Get the reference.
It's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So he's just like winning, and then like he's counting and he's fucking killing it, and then it shows Kevin Spacey, and it's still like quiet, and Kevin Spacey's just like smiling, like looking at him, like, oh, this dude's like fucking good.
Where's he watching from?
Just like far away.
Okay.
Far away, just kind of like looking like, oh man, but he sees him just killing
doing
it,
creepy
racking
Kevin
up.
Spacey shit.
Oh yeah. Just being Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, being Kevin Spacey. Synonymous.
So he's like smiling, and the chips keep rising and rising, and then they just play all night. Like he plays just winning and winning and winning, playing all night. And then the next morning it shows him, and he's just like beat to hell. But he's like happy about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
He just looks like crazy, right? And like he's asleep, and then like in the hotel finally, it just shows him like it shows him like the next one he's beat, and then next cut is like he's asleep, and it's the girl he likes that's crushing him, kind of waking him up.
Right.
And she gives him his cut. She's like, here's 16 grand. That's your cut. We split evenly 5 ways. And then what's his name gets 50%, the Kevin Spacey guy.
Makes sense.
So he gets 50, and then we split the other 55 ways.
Okay, so he made a goddamn a lot of money.
He makes a fucking killing. So she was like, and also you made more money last night than Fisher, who's pissed because he's the old ringer and like you're the new ringer, right? And he was like, oh, okay. He's like, well, it just comes. He's like, it just became easy to me after a while. It's just simple math. And she was like, not for everybody. You're special. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, it doesn't. None of it matters because it's just to pay for Harvard Med. That's the only reason I'm doing this.
Right.
And then she's like, that's what they all say. And he's like, no, seriously, she's like, okay.
You're about to get caught in this world. Yeah, gambling is like that. You can't just start doing that and just stop. It's tough.
So the next morning, right then, Spacey calls them all for a team meeting, and they all have to meet in. Mm-hmm. And then the Fisher guy comes in, the old ringer. He's fucked up, drunk. Just walks in, he's fucked up, and he's talking, and he's like, Fisher, you shit-faced. He's like, I'm fine, you know what I mean? He talks about how he was with some stripper all night last night, and whatever. He's fine. The other guy comes in, and he's like stealing a bunch of shit. And he keeps telling him, he's like, we stop stealing shit. Because he's like, empties a bag, and it's just like full of everything from the hotel. You know what I mean? He's like, you made $16,000. You don't have to steal it. Like, stop this.
Yeah.
You know? And then he goes off on all of them. Like, you did this sloppy, you did this sloppy. He's like, Fisher, there was 3 times you should have got out of a hand and you didn't. That's sloppy, blah, blah, blah. And then he looks at Ben. He's like, Ben, great work. You're a goddamn professional.
So now he's sowing the seeds of dissent between the team.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bad leader. You have these conversations one-on-one.
These are one-on-one conversations.
Yeah, you either ream the team out as a whole or give him praise as a whole, and then one-on-one you talk to these people.
Yep. So the Fisher guy, right when he says it, the Fisher guy immediately starts hating.
Yeah, Fisher guy's drunk as fuck. What are you doing?
He immediately starts hating. He's like, oh, fucking beginner's luck. And then he was like, hey, lose like a man. He made more than you last night. Deal with it. You know what I mean? Fisher guy's fucked up.
I know, right?
Yeah. So the next day they're back at the tables, and the Fishburne guy, Lawrence Fishburne, he's now watching from the eye in the sky.
Right.
Not all the way on him, but he's just watching like their table. And he's like, this is just kind of looking. You know, and while he's watching, he finds out he lost another Caesars account. And they're like, because he's a security guy. He's paid security for all these casinos. But he lost another account to biometrics, which is this thing he's losing to, because they're using these robots.
These robots, yeah.
And he's losing his job of a guy watching from the eye.
Automation.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, he gets mad. But he's like, fucking whatever. And then he's like, man, that was a 14-year account. And he's like, yeah, we're losing them one by one. And he's like, he's like, yeah, everybody's going with the future of technology, man. That's just it. And so you see he's kind of dealing with the dilemma as well.
Right.
The Lawrence Fishburne character. They set that up. That he's also dealing with, he's losing money because
this is going to come to a head. Or Lawrence is going to join the team.
So they land back in Boston.
Morpheus, come over.
Come on over, Morpheus.
Take the right pill.
He goes back to his mom's house right when he lands in Boston, and his mom is like, she gives him a check for $68,000. She says, "Hey, I know it's not everything, but I wanted to help you get started for Harvard Med. I didn't want you to think you wouldn't be able to get in there if the scholarship thing doesn't work out. Like, I'm willing to help, and here's everything I have."
Right.
And then he's like, Mom, I can't take this. This is all your money. I can't take this. She's like, what else am I gonna do with it? She's like, it's to get you into Harvard Med. It's for something. I'd rather give it to you. And then he's like, no, I can't accept this because I got the scholarship. And then she freaks out. What? Why didn't you tell me what to do? He's like, I was waiting to tell you, but yeah, I got the scholarship. He's like, so please take this check. She's like, oh, okay. He's like, oh, so she lies to her.
Right.
Right. Now he doesn't have any money.
No.
That money.
Mm-hmm. Which would have been a lot. Yep. A good chunk.
Good chunk.
Yeah.
So back in his dorm, he's counting the $16,000 that he made, right? And he's writing it down, keeps a track of it, and then he puts it all in the ceiling of his dorm. Right? Just immediately. You're like, come on, man.
Jesus Christ.
$16,000 in the ceiling of your fucking
dorm room? Good Lord.
So as he's hiding that, his friends come in, right?
Yeah.
Like as he's hiding, and they almost catch him coming. They're like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, I'm jumping on the bed, or some stupid, very bad acting shit.
Yeah. So it was just a classic Sid Vec shit.
So they are like, hey, where were you this weekend? He's like, oh, I was helping my cousin. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they tell him that they threw a party. He's like, yo, we threw a party this weekend. And they're like, guess what? He's like, what? He's like, we almost had a girl show up. And Josh Gad was like, Josh Gad. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, let's go to a bar. So they go to a bar. And at the bar, he sees old girl. He sees the girl that he likes, and she's surrounded by all these dudes.
Right.
And they're sitting there and they're talking about like nerd shit, and they're, just kind of looking around like they usually do and talking about how there's nobody there. And then the Ben dude's kind of like listening, but like he's just staring at her. Like he's at that kind of, but he's just like looking at her.
Yeah.
And then he finally he just gets up and he just walks right over to her, and he goes through all the guys trying to holler at her. And he's like, hey. And she's like, hey. He's like, can I buy you a drink? And she's like, yeah.
Oh, hey.
You know, because she's like, all right, you know,
Good for
and
you,
also
man.
because they, you know, she knows
Right,
him.
yeah.
And so they go, and then like he shows, he's like, hey, can I get 2 Bud Lights, one for her? And then he gets them, and then they like kind of start drinking, and she's like, you know, hey, good to see you. He's like, good to see you. And they're drinking, and then they look over, and his friends, like Josh Gad and the other guy, they're just like,
Yeah.
just complete like that, just
Yeah, I
like, but they're
can't
not far away. They're like where you are. So
Yeah.
imagine just staring at me like, yeah, exactly. And so he's like, give me 1 second, and then because she waves at the dude, the Josh Gad character, he goes,
Josh Gad.
he goes like, and he keeps staring.
Yeah.
And then he goes over, he's like, hey, you guys gotta stop staring. And they're like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
how
where did this
you
come
just-
from? You're
'cause he-
one of us.
Yeah,
I thought.
like, what? You know? And he's like, you know, hey, just, you know, stop staring, whoop, whoop, you know, just like, let me, you know, like, let me talk to her. And then they're like, Josh Gad's like, did you do a help? Did you take a self-help seminar?
That's funny.
And then he's like, no. He's like, oh, Jedi mind trick. And they're like, oh, I saw that Jedi mind trick. And they're like, he's like, just get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? And
Oh
then he
God,
goes back
these
and he
people
starts
believe
talking to her.
Jedi mind tricks are real. That's the
They're
level
that.
they're at.
They're nerds.
Oh man.
So they're on the subway home now, him and old girl.
Mhm.
Like they're on the subway back home. And she's telling him a story about her father and how, you know, one Christmas story about one time he lost all this money and they had a horrible Christmas because of it and blah, blah, blah. And then he asks her about like her dad. Is he still around? How does he feel about you gambling now? And he's like, oh, she's like, my dad's long gone. Haven't seen him in forever. And then he goes, oh, don't worry, my dad's long gone too. And they like a bond over.
Dead dads.
Not dead, abandoned.
Oh, abandoned dads.
Abandoned fathering.
Okay. Oh, so his dad isn't around.
Both their dads left.
Left. Okay.
You know? So they're bonding kind of like over that. And she tells him how like, you know, it was amazing watching him count and he's the smartest person she's ever seen, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then he's like just kind of smitten for her and then he goes in for the kiss. And then she pulls back. She's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
hey.
Yeah, you can do that to a teammate.
Yeah, she's like, yo, I don't really, and then he starts apologizing. He's like, I thought there was a vibe. She's like, no, it's just, we're teammates. I don't, you know, hook up with teammates. It's just, it's going to be way too awkward. We can't do that. And
Right.
she's like, oh, okay. And then she leaves, right? And he's kind of like, oh, you know? So, next scene is a voiceover again. And now he's killing it. He's like, I saved over $100,000. You know, he's like, life was crazy, but I couldn't get one thing off my mind. And then it shows him like looking at the old girl, just staring at the old girl the whole time. You know what I mean?
Wow, at the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no, this is they're like this is like a montage. He's like,
Okay.
because he's like when I'm in Boston, I'm Ben Campbell. But he's like, but in Vegas, I'm whoever I want to be. He's like, sometimes I'm a high rolling heiress of a Fortune 500 or something, or heir of Fortune 500.
Right.
He's like, sometimes I'm the hottest video web game designer in the world. And he's like walking in as all these
Yeah.
different people. It's just showing him killing it in
But
Vegas.
he doesn't have the acting chops to back it up.
No, not at all. Not
So he's
at
just still kind of the
fucking
same
all.
guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You tried, man.
He's like, in Boston, we had a secret, but in Vegas, I had a life.
Yeah. It's amazing how bad the lines are when the acting isn't good.
Oh, yeah. And then he was all like, you know, he's like, we're making more money than we could ever believe. It was too good to be true. And then right as he says that, it shows Lawrence Fishburne like at a table a couple over, just kind of watching him gamble slyly, you know? And then it goes back up top and Lawrence, like he's watching from the eye of the sky, Lawrence Fishburne. And they're like, is he counting? And Lawrence is like, I can't tell if he's counting or if he's lucky. And then he's like, how could you tell in the first place? He's like, because I'm counting the cards. And he's betting, and he was betting smart. He was betting where he wouldn't win all the time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Made it look like he was.
Also, if this team is like so hellbent on not getting caught, why don't they have a different person win the money every time? Why does it have to be the same
I don't
guy?
mean, Sam watched the movie. She said the same thing this morning. She's
Yeah.
like, why the fuck is it just him and the
Yeah.
one dude?
Right? Let the girl win. Kevin Spacey has...
He said he doesn't trust women.
Whew.
So
I know how money works. So even if let's say I didn't trust women like that, I do trust $100,000 way more than I would think, you know.
yeah,
I wouldn't let my distrust get in the way of crazy money.
of
And
definitely
safety.
getting caught.
Yeah.
yeah.
Of definitely, you see how bad of an actor this guy is. You're working with him. Why then would you make him the guy who gets the money all the time?
You're a ringer.
Also,
You're
yeah.
Johnny Knoxville.
Also, your ringer should probably not be like this high-profile character each time, like this heir or this video game design. You know, you could also just be a dude.
Well, they were sometimes, but I
Okay.
think that was the fun because everybody's different characters. Everybody's a different person. You know what I mean?
You think the Asian guy ever tried to go as not an Asian guy?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he went his blackface.
Yeah.
LeBron James.
I wish.
Uh,
What I would see to see an Asian guy in blackface in the movie, just to see how people would react, to be like, I don't know, like what angle of racism to take from, you know?
yeah. So he's fucking counting. Like he's doing all that, and they're still watching from the eye in the sky. And then Lawrence Fishburne's like, "Hey, let's just print his face just to be safe." And they're like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, And because the casino owner's like, there's probably bigger fish to fry. And he's like, we're going to get the biometric thing anyway, so none of this will matter. And he's like, yeah, but for now, let's just print his face to be
Right.
safe. Old school ways. And the guy's like, okay. So he shows, Ben cuts back to him and he's still lying to his friends and they're getting hurt because he's talking about, he can't show up to this thing for the thing that they're building and all that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a little like that, a little quick
It's
shot of that.
gambling taking over his life.
Exactly. And then back in Vegas, it's another montage of them just turning up. He's like, we were spending money like crazy. And it shows them at strip clubs. The whole team, it shows them buying like fancy clothes, fancy purses, fancy food. You know what I mean? Just like go in gambling on other things.
Doing
the
opposite of what you should do when you're cheating money out of a casino.
Oh yeah, they were spending all the money, giving it right back to the casino in other ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Idiots.
Yeah, so...
Do that all in Boston.
Oh yeah, he was like, dorm rooms become high roller suites. Bicycles became stretch limos. You know what I mean?
I don't like this guy.
Oh, I hate him.
Okay.
He's like at the strip club.
All right.
It's like they're at the strip club and they're all turning up and they're partying, and then an old girl comes over with him, Bosworth, and she gets on his lap and starts flirting with him, and then they start making out. Like now they're just all going crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just losing it now.
Yeah.
So the next scene, they're back like at a table and like they're working, and everyone knows and loves Ben. Like he walks in and everybody's like, oh, hey, Mr. Such and Such. And he's like, wink. Everybody knows him now. He's just a high roller kind of guy.
Right.
He goes and he sits at the table. The Fisher dude is watching. He's drunk. And he's hating. You can just see he's like, he just fucking hating.
Yeah.
He's fucking mad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he comes over to his table, right? And Fishburne is watching from the eye in the sky.
Right.
So Fisher comes over to his table. You know what I'm saying?
And he's not supposed to.
No.
Ooh.
Ben's at the table. The Asian girl already called him over.
Right.
To come sit down at her table.
Right.
Fisher dude was watching just hating, and now he went over just because he's drunk.
Right.
So, and the whole time, Lawrence Fishburne is watching from the eye in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, Fishburne's noticing something's up because the Fisher dude comes over and he's just kind of talking crazy. You can't see, he's just kind of talking and he's like, what's going on here? And then he's like, hey, go back and see if she calls him over. And he's like, I bet she's like, because he's like, it looks like there's a play here. He's like, go back and see if she does any kind of, and of course he sees the gesture and then he figures it out. He's like, oh, there it is. He's like, that's the scam. He's like, they do that to call people. You know what I mean? He starts piecing all these other puzzles together. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I think they're doing this and this.
Right.
And he's telling the casino owner, like, because the casino owner's like, oh man, I'm glad he's like, oh, I'm glad we have that. And he's like, yeah, I bet you are glad you had me do that. He's like, a computer can't do that. He's like, this is like proving like that you don't need this biometric shit. You know what I'm saying? And Fisher is like, they cut back to Fisher, the drunk dude at the table, and he's calling Ben Rain Man. He's like, what are you? He's like, you like that one of that retard. You like that because he's drunk. You like that retard from that movie. What? And then the guy's like, I think I'm more like the Ben Campbell's trying to play it. He's like, I think I'm more like a Tom Cruise fella. Probably slow out on the drinks.
Why would the first time, way back when he showed up to the meeting drunk, why the fuck would then Kevin Spacey keep him on the team?
Just to show up to the meeting drunk.
You made a death threat earlier, supposedly. And you let this drunk guy stay on your team? Like, what kind of, like, if your team is the Patriots, you can't have the middle linebacker just show up wasted to practice. Anyways.
Maybe. I was about to like, I'm sure that's happened. I bet you Bill Belichick's been like, God damn it, Vrabel, get out of here.
Oh, maybe. But God,
yeah.
he shouldn't be on the team. Especially, oh God, Kevin Spacey. Making bad decisions.
He's making bad calls.
Yeah.
He keeps calling him Rain Man and saying all this shit. And then he's trying to get. So the Lawrence Fishburne character is now like they're running down trying to like get down there. Mm-hmm. And he keeps calling him Rain Man. And this other gangster dude kind of pulls up to the table to play. And the Fisher guy is like fucking with him too.
Yeah.
He's just a random person.
Yeah.
And then it keeps calling him a retard. Keeps calling him a retard. And then it gets to the point where it escalates to the point where He like throws the chips because he's mad or something.
Yeah.
And then this guy starts a fight. Like the
gangster
saved. Guy. The gangster guy starts a fight with the Fisher dude.
Right.
Like, who the fuck are you, man? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So now they're fighting, and then while this is happening, like the
team,
the security. Well, the team gets out of there as the security comes out, and there's too much of a scramble going on, so they all are able to kind of slip away.
Right.
So Fishburne, he doesn't really get anybody. You know what I mean? Because they're all able to kind of get away and shit.
Right.
So they go back to the hotel where everybody meets out, and Fisher's there drunk, and then the Ben character walks up and he immediately tries to fight him. Like, yo, what the fuck is your problem? And he's laughing. The Fisher, he's hammered.
Right.
Like, and he's like, dude, what is wrong with you? You realize what you almost did? What's wrong with you? And then the Spacey character walks up and he's like, hey, you're out of here. He's like, what are you saying? He's like, you're off the team. You got drunk, you got stupid, You're off my team. Go home. Here's a plane ticket to Boston. And the guy's like, you can't make me go home. What are you going to do? He's like, I just told you to go home. You're out of here. And the guy gets up like, make me go home. You know, like, what are you going to do? Huh? You don't even do anything. You just sit back and let us do all the work. What are you going to do? Make me go home. And he's like, he just basically calmly goes right into his face. He goes, you know exactly what I'm capable of doing. Go home. And then he's like, and then he just leaves. It was cold. It was a cold scene, man. So, Spacey's now, they're all like at a strip club because that's where they all met up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, when we do, all our faces are going to be printed because of that fight. They're going to have our, faces on everything. They're going to know what we look like. We can't come to this casino. He's like, and we're sitting on $200,000 worth of chips that we can't cash. What are we going to do?
Oh, damn.
And so they're sitting there and Ben's like, he's thinking, and he looks up and he notices that somebody tipped one of the strippers with a chip.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I got an idea. And then he gathers up all the strippers and he gives them like the money and they all pretend that it's like their tip outs. Like he gives them a cut to pretend it's a tip out. Yeah. And then it like plays like that Ocean's 11 music again.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like he's like getting away with another thing.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, and then the Kevin Spacey character's like, you are a genius. He's just like smiling. He's just loving it. He's just loving this as he's living now.
Is Kevin Spacey, as of right now, has Kevin Spacey torn him down in front of people?
No, not yet.
Bad leader.
Yep. So right after that, the Kate Bosworth, like right after that, she invites him up to her room to fuck.
Oh, hey.
So they start kissing.
Hey, get it.
And the cool sex music plays, and then they start naked kissing. And then right after they start naked kissing, they show a fountain to let you know that somebody's coming.
Oh, shit. Is that what that means?
Oh, yeah. Bro, if they show two people kissing.
I know exactly.
And then they show a fountain.
Yeah. Love making it happen.
They're like, somebody came, baby. Yeah. A lot. So.
And synchronized.
Oh, yeah, synchronized.
Yeah.
So he's back in his dorm room, and this idiot still hiding all his money in his roof. All right, still doing that like a complete idiot. And it shows the Josh Gad and his other friend, and they're waiting for Ben. They're sitting on a park bench, and they're like, 45 minutes. What the fuck? God, this guy. What is going on with this dude?
Yeah.
And then he shows up, and they're like, hey man, it's been 45 minutes. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm late, but I finished the project you guys wanted. And he's like, oh, you have the interface? And they're like, yeah, we got it. And he hands it to him. He's like, I worked on it all night, but I finally got it done. They're like, oh, thank you. And so they set it up, and they try to use it for the car, and it doesn't work.
Oh.
And they're like, Ben, what did you do? And he's like, I did it just like you wanted. I used the 8K. They're like, 8K? It was 16K. We said the interface needed 16K gigawatt. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, oh, I thought it was 8. I thought you guys said 8. He's like, no, you didn't. It's like, we said 16. Nobody ever said 8. He's like, oh, I had other numbers in my head. Like, of course you had other things in your head. You don't care anymore. And they're like, yo, you're off the project. He's like, yo, this project is just as much as mine as it is you guys. He's like, it was until you stopped caring. You know what I mean, Josh?
Nerd drama.
Nerd drama.
Grade A nerd drama.
Grade A.
Yeah.
And then he's like, fine. You know what? I don't care about this project anymore anyway. This competition is worthless. It doesn't mean anything. You guys are fucking pathetic. And he rides off on his bicycle. And then the Josh K. Yeah, exactly. You've seen this scene in every nerd fight movie ever. You know what I mean?
God damn. I hate this main character.
Yeah. So Ben, he goes back to the Vegas casinos, right? And he walks in and everyone again is treating him like a high roller. Hey, babe, and he's the man. He's loving it. He's feeling himself. And he goes to the table and he starts losing. And he's losing. And the Asian girl that he's working with keeps hitting him with the,
yeah.
And then like she at one point, she goes, man, I got a real headache today. Oh my God. Whoo, my head. Like she's like, get out of here.
Yeah, this is cold.
And he's losing. And then finally the old girl that he fucked recently, she comes up and she's like, hey, honey, I think it's time we should go to the room. And he's like, oh no, I think I'm okay, honey. I think I'm gonna stay here. And then she's like, no, I think we should go to the room. We're really losing all our money tonight. And she's like, no. You know what, honey, go back up to the room and you wait for me. I'm gonna stay here tonight. She's like, and then she walks away, and then the other girl's like, now the rest of the team's like trying to get him,
right?
And he just keeps losing and drinking and losing, and he's just doing what the Fisher guy did. You know what I mean? He's just feeling himself. And then finally, he bets everything he has, all of it. He's like, well, fuck it. He's like, maybe one big bet, right? He's like, what are we here for? And he pushes all his chips in, and then in slow mo, of course, he loses. And as he loses, right? He gets up and he goes. He looks at the dealer and he goes, I guess it's not my night. And he flicks a chip. He flicks a chip and then he walks away in slow motion. And like really sad music plays, like the Hulk music plays.
What the fuck is happening?
I don't know.
What the fuck? Dude, this guy sucks.
Oh, he's the worst.
This guy sucks. So
it's cut back and Kevin Spacey's upstairs. He's like, are you out of your mind? You know, he's yelling at him. He's like, Spacey's just going off. He's like, I'm sorry. And Ben's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, everybody, Ben's sorry. Oh, Ben's sorry. Ben, I'm out of $200,000. You know, sorries don't pay for that. And you're going to pay me back every dime you owe me. And the Ben character goes off. He's like, every time I owe you, you know, we're the ones out there making all the money, blah, blah, blah. You don't even go down there and help. What are you talking about? He's like, I made all this money for you. And he's like, I don't care. Ben, this is a business. You know what you signed up for. Emotion doesn't get involved. You were gambling. We count cards. You know? He's like, you're going to pay me back everything you owe me. And then he's like, you know what? He's like, well, I don't care about that. This is Ben. He's like, I don't care. He's like, why don't you come down there and gamble, huh? You're so fucking good. You come down there and you know, earn yours with us. And then the Kevin Spacey character's like, you little prick. Huh? You think you're so arrogant, huh? He's like, well, you know what? All of you can find your own way home back to Boston. He's like, all of you. And he's like, and Ben, he looks at him, you will pay me every cent of what you owe me. And he slams the door and he leaves. Don't piss off Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Jesus. Also, stop being a little bitch, Ben.
Right?
What? You didn't get to build a robot, so you gamble away $250,000?
Pretty much.
Do you have any sense of
That's what happened.
proportion?
No. So, of course, Ben's going up. Why do we need him? We don't need him to the rest of the team. Like, his cut was 50%. We can gamble, and we can keep all the money. And the rest of the team's like, I don't know, man. That was really him setting all this up. And he called the casinos and made the play. And he's like, no, fuck all that. We can do it. I'll set it up. I can lead this team. You know what I mean? He's like, and we'll play on our own. And it's all our risk, but it's all our reward. You know what I mean? And the rest of the team's like, they're kind of like
the rest of the team is on board with
kind of on
with
board,
this
but not.
wasted guy.
Oh yeah, and so he's like, you know, they're reluctant, but they all say yes. And then the girls, like the main Boswell character, she's like, no. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? He's like, I can lead this team. You got to just trust me, and I can make this happen. And then she's like, what happened to you? She's like, what happened to once you get $300K, you're gonna go to med school. You're not gonna do this anymore. And then he was like, what? Don't worry about that. That guy's done. She's like, how much money do you have? He's like, don't worry about that. She's like, how much money do you have? He's like, $315,000. She's like, so why are you here? And he's like, because I want to be here. He leaves.
Oh, God. So if this guy is like the anti-Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, well, he leaves on the lamest. You know what I mean? There's no cool sign-offs for him. He's just...
Yep. So they go back down on the floor, and they're trying to work it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Spacey is in disguise, and he's watching them, and he calls Fishburne and leaves an anonymous tip.
Yeah, duh. Fucking
Just
idiot college kids. Yeah.
So Fishburne now is like, you know, they're like, hey, Fishburne, we have a call. Somebody says they have a tip for you. And he's like, we don't have any clients anymore. Which call is our last one? And they're like, hey, you're going to want to take this call. They say it's like a tip in our building. He's like, okay. And he takes it. And of course, so it cuts back to Ben, and he's like winning, and he's loving it, and he's smiling. And Fishburne walks up on him. He's like, wow, you're a real winner. And he's kind of like, oh, shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his crew, and then he like turns and he kind of like to get up, but his whole crew kind of like, the Fishburne's whole crew kind of surrounds him.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, I'm just lucky. And he's like, no, you're a real winner. You're probably going to pull this card next, and then that card right here is going to be next. And he like, Fishburne like says everything that's going to be next, that's going to happen. Because he, you know, he knows how to count cards.
Fishburne knows how to do it too.
So he's looking at him and he's like, you know what I mean? The Ben character's like, and then, as that's happening, you see the girls, they leave him.
Right.
Because they have to get out. They're like, fuck. And they just kind of, and then the one girl's like, we have to do something. We can't leave him. And she's like, we have to go. There's nothing we can do. We have to go. And so they leave him. Right. And the Ben character's just kind of sitting there and his head's down. And then Lawrence Fishburne's like, come on, kid. Let's go get you that chicken dinner you were talking about. He gets up slowly. And then the next scene, it's just him getting punched in the face. Wow. And then Lawrence Fishburne is calmly explaining to him biometrics. It's like, so what biometrics is, it takes a scan of your face. Wow! And what it does is make sure people who count cards like you are able to do it again, because now the scan of your face, it explains everything. And while he's doing this, he's hitting them, right?
Yeah, which I bet feels good to watch.
Oh, it's a cool scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and then like as he's punching him, he finds out, he's like, oh, you go to MIT. Like, because he's going through his wallet. And he's like, oh, look at this guy. He goes to MIT. And he punches him in the stomach again. He's like, well, let me tell you something. My name's Cole Williams. And if I ever catch you in here again, I'm going to break your cheekbone with a small hammer right here. And then I'm going to kill you. And he's like, please, I'm sorry, just take my money. Just take my money. I'll never do it again, please. Because he's fucked up, right?
Right.
The Ben dude. And then he starts talking to him again. He's like, oh, no, He's like, so, you know Mickey, right? The professor, the Kevin Spacey character.
Yeah.
And he starts taking off his ring. Takes off his ring, and then his assistant hands him like a little knapsack, like what you would get like gold coins out of or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know much about him. He's my professor. He's like, I'll tell you about Mickey. And he starts pulling all these rings out and putting them on his fingers, one by one. He's like, see, I used to work the strip way back in the day, way back when it was only eyes in the skies and there was no biometrics, right? And he said, Mickey Rosa was around all the time, and I'd catch him all the time, and I was just beating him up and down this strip. I'd catch him and I'd beat him. I'd catch him and I'd beat him, right? He kept coming back. He said, until one day, the casino I'm working gets hit for 7 figures. Biggest winning at blackjack in a casino's history, right? And of course, since that day, I haven't seen old Mickey again. Interesting, huh? And then right as he's about to hit him with all the rings on his hand, it cuts to Ben walking outside, and he's got his face is
just fucked up,
and he's got an ice pack on his face, and he's limping out the casino, right? And
which I don't feel anything about. I don't feel bad for him in the slightest.
Yeah. Well, the guy said also the Lawrence Fishburne, I don't know if he got fired from that casino for losing the 7 figures. Right?
Oh,
and he
okay.
said after I got fired, it was hard for me to get a job. And then he said I never saw the guy again, and the Mickey character again, the Kevin Spacey character.
Yeah.
Then he do the punch. Okay.
Right.
That's important to know. So next scene.
Right.
Right. Ben he's walking out. He's fucked up. He goes back to Boston. Goes back to his room, and of course, his dorm is robbed. Right when he walks in, the ceiling's completely torn out. You know what I mean?
Idiot.
And he falls to the ground. He's crying. He's just because he's
fucking.
fucked.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
Dick face.
So Spacey's teaching in class. It's like cut to Spacey. He's teaching, right? And he's just talking about some professor, and he's teaching about some famous professor. And then Ben raises his hand and goes, "Yeah, but didn't that professor steal? Isn't that professor famous for really famous for stealing from his students?" And then Spacey looks at him calmly, like notices he's in the room, and he goes, "Oh." He goes, well, that is true. And he was like, and he calmly, like, in front of everyone says, like, but there was never actually proof, and no one could ever actually prove that he stole anything. And actually, a lot of people say that the student should have never crossed the teacher because the teacher was a much powerful position and a much smarter person. You know what I mean? Like saying all these things.
Yeah, duh, idiot.
Yeah.
Fucking
And he's like, but history shows us some students never learn. And then he really coldly, he goes, oh, by the way, you should get that eye looked at. He's a class dismissed. You know what I mean? Like real cold. It was a really good Kevin Spacey line, bro.
Great villain.
That I looked at. Like, because he said it like, motherfucker.
Yeah, you
like,
fucking stupid
fucking
idiot.
Bitch, now what?
Yeah.
So he rushes over to old Bosworth's house, right? And he's crying, the old girl.
Yeah.
And he's crying, and he's like, everything's gone. He's like, he took everything from me. My money, MIT, Harvard Med, he took it all. I have nothing. He's like, I gotta get it back. She's like, are you insane? She's like, let it go. And she's like, but Jill, I lost everything. It's like, he took it from me. He's like, I can't lose you too. And then she's like, Ben, you got dragged away from Vegas. I didn't know where you were. I didn't know anything. He's like, I'm sorry. I hurt you. This scene makes no sense. He's like, I'm sorry I hurt you. He's like, but you know me. You know what I'm like. And I need you now. I need you to trust me on this one.
What? All right.
She's like, okay, I'll trust you. So it cuts to them, and they're at the back of the competition, that 2.09 competition.
Yeah.
It's really packed for Josh Gad. And now it's Josh Gad and the other dude win. Right? And so everybody goes crazy for Josh Gad and the other dude, and they cheer. And then Josh Gad gets up and and then he looks to the back of the room and he notices old boy. And old boy's like, "What?" His friends, Ben's there, and he's like, he claps slowly, for him, and they kind of like give each other like a nod of like good friends, Right. And he learned how to be a good friend again,
Ugh. Blah. Ugh.
So afterwards they're walking, him and Josh Gad, and he's telling them everything. Like he tells Josh Gad everything. He's like, and that's everything that's happened. That's everything.
Josh Gad.
And Josh is like, wow, so you've been doing all this. You've been gambling. Whoop. He's like, but most importantly, you hooked up with Jill Taylor? And he laughs. He's like, yeah. And then he tells him some more stuff about how he lost, $200,000, like well over $300,000. And whoop. And he's like, damn. Wait, so you hooked up with Jill Taylor? Like he just can't get over it,
That's
right?
funny. Yeah.
And then they're laughing. And he's like, well, man, at least you had a life.
Mm-hmm.
At least you have the experience that you were talking about. And they both kind of laugh, So Ben now goes up to Kevin Spacey, who's at this black tie affair, right?
Right.
And he goes up to him and he calls him over, and Ben's like, what are you doing here? He's like, get out of here. I'll call the security on you. You don't go to MIT. Because he got him kicked out of MIT, apparently. Got him kicked out of everything.
Really?
Yeah. He ruined his whole life.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fucking again, deserves it. Fuck you, Ben.
He goes back and he apologizes to him and he's like, please, I'll do anything to get back in. Just let me back in the group. I'll do anything to get back in MIT. And then he tells him, he's like, Ben, listen, you're good. You're probably the best I've ever seen, but you let emotion get in the way. You started gambling, you stopped counting cards, and I can't have that on my team. You're stupid. He's like, so why in the hell would I work with you again? And then Ben tells him about biometrics and how the whole thing is going to be done anyway. So he needs money, and the only person he knows who can do it is Kevin Spacey, and he needs another big fish. He's like, the only way that they'll actually have a big take is if he plays. And he also tells Kevin, he's like, if we don't do this, there will be no other chance to do it.
Right.
It's their only chance to go, make a big score, leave.
It's the one last mark.
One last mark, one last.
Right.
And Spacey's like, okay, he agreed. Like, he reluctantly, like, I'll do it, because I know about the biometric thing. Like, all right, well, it sounds like a play.
Right.
So they're back at the casino suite, it's the whole team, and Ben's laying out the play. He's telling everybody how it's going to go down. We're all going to wear different disguises. We're all going to have different voices, characters. You know what I mean? And then Spacey's like, yo, tonight, everybody, we forget about the past. We're on to the future. You know what I mean? This is a team again, and we're going to do tonight and do it right. Mm-hmm. And he said, we'll meet at this place, and nobody leaves Vegas until everybody leaves together. We're going to meet at this place. Nobody leaves till we all leave. Everybody agrees.
Okay.
So it's like, let's make a killing. And then they all put on their disguises, which are all awful, by the way. When you see the disguises, you're going to be like, oh, you mean a wig, Deric? Stop calling them disguises.
Yeah.
You mean they put on a wig and glasses? It's like, yeah, but they kept calling them disguises.
Okay. Okay. I'm not, before we keep going, I just have to say, I don't think I've ever actively hated a movie while we've done this until now.
Oh, I hated watching it.
Oh, really? Okay. I might be picking up on that because I don't like this.
No.
What is happening?
That's not what it's about.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry.
Have you heard how I didn't tell you I didn't like it? Because who gives a fuck?
Well, I know it's not what
I'm telling you the movie.
I know you're telling me the movie, and I fucking hate it.
Yeah. I do too. But that's not the point.
Well,
the point is,
I'm mad at you.
What happens in 21? That's not the point.
I know. Keep going. I mean, keep going.
That's why it's like, what's the point of stopping? That's why I have to keep, because it's like, I can't tell you about how, let's just make fun of how dumb it is. I know it's a bad fucking movie. I had to watch it this morning.
All right, so Kevin is playing in this next game, right?
So Kevin decides he's gonna fucking play.
Even though
the
main character knows that Lawrence Fishburne is looking for him.
Yep.
He still invites Kevin to the game.
Still invites him to play.
He's not a genius. You said genius earlier. Pretty fucking dumb.
So they go down and they start playing, right? And they are kicking ass. They're killing it, right? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. They keep all saying it. They're fucking hitting on blackjack, and they're going table to table.
The worst callback of all time.
Right? Awful.
Yeah.
Table to table. And then, and this is before Spacey. And then now Spacey sits down with them, and he starts playing, and they really start killing. There's a lot. They're just raking it in. Big fucking just chip. And they're winning, and they're drunk, and they're ball playing their like, well, not drunk, but they're playing drunk, and they're laughing, and they're screaming. They look like rednecks. You know what I mean? They're killing. They're doing. They're just destroying. And while this is happening, okay, Fishburne starts walking up slowly, him and his whole team.
Yeah.
It cuts to slow-mo. And then they all kind of look over, and then in slow-mo, it shows the girl going through her hair again. It's the scene from the beginning.
That's the beginning, yeah.
Mm-hmm. She's going through her hair again, and then they all notice Fishburne, and they fucking grab their chips, and then the Ocean 11 music starts playing, the chase music, that fucking really cool Vegas music, and they start running through the casino. Start running full speed.
Yeah.
Through the casino, right? And they're getting chased.
Looks inconspicuous.
You know how they let you run through casinos?
Yeah. With wads of chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane amount of chips.
Yeah.
They're up $600,000.
Yeah.
He's remember 37 in the movie. So they're up almost to $1 million at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep running through the kitchen, and they're running through the back areas, and then Spacey's like, hey, we gotta split up. And they're like, he's like, come on, let's split up. He's like, toss me the chips. And they're like, of course, they don't want to do it. They're like, toss me the chips. We got to do this. And then they toss it to him like, fuck. And then he goes.
Yeah.
He hops in a limo. Like, he runs and he runs. He bends the corner, and then he hops in a limo. And then they run and they bend the corner and go somewhere else, right?
Right.
And when he hops in the limo, he laughs. And he's like, take me to the airport. The Vegas airport, right? And he's laughing. And he opens the bag, and it's chocolate. Little gold chocolate chips. Flashback. Lawrence Fishburne's about to punch him with the rings on. He stops, right? And he goes, I want to see him now. I want to see Mickey. And he goes, I want you to make that happen. And the Ben character's crying, he's bleeding. He's like, I don't work for him anymore. You won't trust me. And he was like, I'm going to give you one night and you'll make a killing. And he's like, you tell him everything I just told you to say, which is all the biometric stuff he told you. You know what I mean?
Hey.
I know. I had to let you believe that for a second, bro, that it was all the way awful for a second.
They turned it around.
I know.
They turned it around. Hey, look at this smile. I haven't smiled like this at all this entire movie.
What's the first good twist of the movie?
Hey.
So, because I didn't know it was coming either. The first time I ever saw it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was just like, oh, this is bad. And then I was like, oh, wow, that makes sense.
Oh, wow. You led me down a good path.
So, well, yeah, it's also more fun for me.
Yeah. I'm still angry.
So the guy, he tells me, he's like, you'll make a killing, you'll keep all the money. He's like, but I get Mickey. I get him. And he was like, my name's Cole Williams. He's like, can you just bring me Mickey Rose a kid and I'll take care of all the rest. Right? And so back at the room, then it cuts back to them at the hotel room and then it shows them like getting the chocolate chips ready and like putting them in a bag in her purse, right?
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Spacey and he's like laughing to himself. Like, motherfucker.
You should never go back for the one last one.
Never go back for the one last one. Because he's like, oh, those mother... And
he gambled.
He looks up and then the limo driver's window rolls down and it's Lawrence Fishburne's number 2.
Yeah.
It's been his number 2 the whole movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, who the hell are you? Spacey's like, who the hell are you? And the guy kind of smiles, right? And then it cuts back to Fishburne and he's meeting up with the homeboy.
The crew. Ben.
Yeah, Ben.
All right.
Right? It was Ben and girl. Ben and girl, right?
Ben plus girl.
Ben plus girl.
Okay.
And he says, he walks up to him and he says, hey, man, I'm going to make sure that MIT thing works out for you and all that stuff. And, he's like, thanks for your help. I really wanted to get him, He's like, but I got to tell you something. And because the Ben character's smiling, he's like, what? Thank you so much. He's like, no problem, but there's no retirement in my field. And now with this biometric things, I'm out of a job. So give me the bag. And of course, Ben's like, wait, that wasn't the deal. The deal was I give you Mickey. He's like, I need this money, man. I need this money. Like, you can't do this to me. I need the money. Like, there's no other way I'm going to get into Harvard Med, MIT. Like, this is my only shot to get this back. I lost everything. And then the Lawrence Fishburne is like, kid, you're smart. You're smart. He's like, you're smart. You're a genius. Literally the smartest kid I've ever met. You're going to be fine. You'll get it all back. I promise. He's like, but right now, I need you to give me that bag. And then he like shows him his gun.
Yeah.
Like, all right, And then he's like, fuck it. And he throws him the bag.
And it's another bag full of chocolate.
No, he throws in the bag. It's the chips because he checks because he's not an idiot.
Okay.
Because he's not retarded.
Okay.
Which I don't know why anybody, when people get bags of money in a movie, especially in a movie.
Well, they were running. I'll give Kevin Spacey that.
They were running.
They were running.
I'm still peeking.
Yeah.
I'm still peeking.
I don't know. I pretty much don't like anybody but Lawrence Fishburne right now. So.
Well, yeah, he's the only one who's like has like an actual purpose in the movie. Yeah, like an actual goal.
Yeah.
And I like how they set up the whole retirement thing. So like it set up that him robbing him in the end.
Makes
like,
sense.
Oh, it all made sense.
All right.
So he was like, you doing a voiceover like so he said you'll get everything, don't worry about it, kid, you're smart. I just need the bag. And he throws in the bag, he's mad, and he walks away in slow-mo doing like a voiceover, and it shows Kevin Spacey tied to a chair. And Fishburne walks up and it's Mick. He's like, please, I'll give you all the money I have. Let me walk away from this, please. He's like, shh, Mickey, shh. No need for that. And he starts taking off the ring and putting on the other rings, and you see Kevin Spacey's face like, you know what I mean? Because it's just like there's he's gonna beat you to death.
Fucked up.
He's about to beat you to death.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna kill you. So the voiceover keeps going, right? And he's like, the guy's like, I lost everything and I got it back and whoop. He's like, but it turns out, and him and the old girl are walking through the casino, my friends were pretty good at math too. And then it shows Josh Gad and Homeboy, they spin around from the table and they both have a bunch of chips.
Josh Gad, baby.
Coming in at the end of the day.
Josh Gad.
And they were using the how the rest of the team wasn't around when the chase happened?
Right.
They were working with the Josh Gad and the Homeboy. So they end up making a crazy amount anyway.
Oh. That's okay. I like the ending.
And so the voiceover keeps going, and it's And so the voiceover is like it says, you know, everybody went. You know, my friends, you know, won the competition, and they got to count cards a little bit. He's like the Lawrence Fishburne guy shows him retired on a beach.
Right.
He's like he retired on a beach, you know, and he's like I'm still dating an old girl, and they're back in Boston, and it shows them like kind of kissing like at a library. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it slowly starts playing in a chorus form. You can't always get what you want. Just like that, my nigga. I am not playing. You can't always get what you want.
God.
In that way, that's how it sounds.
Yeah.
And he tells how like he's like, and then it's the voiceover still going, right? And he's like,
This movie should end.
I made more money than I could ever have imagined twice and lost it all. And he says, so how's that for life experience? Did I jump off the page enough for you this time? And it shows back to the Harvard med guy, and he's like, and the movie ends.
All right.
21.
You know, I didn't like even the movies we've done that are like this movie is kind of bad. I've been excited to watch. I am not that excited for this movie.
21. Isn't it crazy that this was like a box office smash? This is a huge movie.
It didn't need to be. It really didn't need to be. It didn't. There's so much unnecessary bullshit. There's so much unnecessary.
You know what's
bullshit.
crazy?
What?
I didn't know. I knew until today.
Yeah.
Like all I remembered was like, oh, it was a movie about blackjack and it was huge, and I watched it a couple times. It was pretty good. So I was like, oh, that'll be different today, and something kind of newer.
Yeah.
And then I watched it today, and I was like, holy shit! It was like What Women Want.
Yeah.
It was totally different experience watching
Yeah, but
it.
at least What Women Want was fun.
Well, only because it was funny.
Yeah.
This wasn't funny.
No.
That's why this was very unfun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't get good till Lawrence Fishburne at the end.
Also,
Really.
crazy. You know, it really didn't get good to Lawrence Fishburne. That's
Yeah.
the whole movie. That's the best part of the movie. And well, the scenes in the montage scenes in the beginning where he's like training how to count cards. Those are cool. Those are cool because it shows all the numbers in his head, and that's really cool. But fucking it was worse than Rocky IV. I didn't know any movie was worse than Rocky IV. Like as a movie.
Well, I mean, you know, but you think it's like worse than that as a movie? Like if you were to break down the bare parts of it.
Wait till you watch it.
Okay, because
Tell me what you had more fun in.
Well, Rocky IV is like definitely gonna be more fun than this.
But that's what I'm saying. At least Rocky IV was like, you know what? We'll give you fun.
Okay.
This one doesn't give you either.
Oh, it takes itself way too seriously.
That's what I'm saying.
Uh,
That's why I said this is actually literally the worst movie we've done so far. And I still actually liked it. I still watched it.
yeah, that's because you're weird.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Because also it's just like, man, they made this. They did this. They did it. They edited it. They shot it.
And they didn't recast.
They didn't recast. They let that dude star in it. I don't know. It could. You know what's crazy though? This close to being a good movie. This close. All you need, just a guy with a lead, just one lead.
Yeah.
Someone who can carry the movie,
No,
even
but
with a bad script.
There's also parts of this that didn't make any sense.
True. I'm saying, but a good lead
Yeah.
can carry you through that. A Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a strong lead can get you through Jurassic World. Like it doesn't have to make sense because you're like, oh man, that guy's badass.
That's a good point.
The whole movie, you're like, I hate this dude.
Well, at least Josh Gad's in it.
And you're like, well, there's Josh Gad.
Josh Gad! Yeah.
That was fucking 21, everybody. It was great.